vis-a-vis all the topics that we've had over the past couple of days. The feedback we've received has been overwhelmingly very positive. I think, if I can say that, we had a fantastic caliber of speakers over the past 2 days, and the different presentations, I think, provided food for thought. Please know that those speakers who have provided their papers to the Secretariat, we will be giving you copies of that on a flash drive, and you should receive it by Friday. So all those who have registered, you'll get individual flash drives with all the papers that have been given to the chambers for your future reference. And there have been some very, very good papers that have been presented. In respect of the new company laws, of course, it's a new law. We just had a session on that. Long overdue. It's a simplification of fairly cumbersome laws that we've had in the past. There is an emphasis on compliance, and that's a general thrust of government to ensure compliance through simplification. In the same way the tax laws are being simplified, we just ensure that we want compliance. You go off and register companies, you go off and make your profits, just ensure you comply, and then you make your profits, whatever you may do, and good luck to you. Of course, it gives us an opportunity to start on a clean slate. There will be obviously transitional provision. There are many companies, as was highlighted, that have not filed an annual return, some of them for over 10, 15 years. This is a very good opportunity for us to be able to clean up the companies, the register of companies, with the new IT improvements that should come on stream in the next 4 to 5 months. It again gives us the ability to provide a better service to you. I mean, at the moment, when you do a company search, you have to go out and look at physically papers. Sometimes clerks, of course, get lazy to photocopy. They pull out originals from the file and creates problems for everybody. So the idea is to get over that. There will be some tweaking done, as Bruce Cowley has highlighted, the feedback that has been received. Hopefully we'll be able to finalize it in the next couple of weeks, and the new decree comes into application in the new year. It was good to get an accountant's perspective on it too. Reminded some of us who don't do billable hours as to how important it is. And of course, billable hours is paramount for many. I was thinking perhaps it gave me an idea, given the fact that you had so many auditing requirements now, that perhaps the social responsibility levy for accountants should go up a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the work that has been done in respect of the company's office. Improving land registration systems and procedures, obviously very, very relevant to many of you, in particular those in private practice, and of course in the Solicitor General's office too. Jean Bai, who's been seconded from SG's chambers to the Title's office, is doing, I think, generally, the feedback we received, and personally believe he's doing a very good job there. Turnaround times have improved. I see many people shaking their head in agreement. There is a need to look at some of the powers and the need to improve or enlarge some of the powers of the registrar, and we'll be looking at some of those amendments to the existing laws. Registration under deeds, of course, is an interesting concept, but it does not mean that we are limited by what we have at the moment. In some jurisdictions, what they have done, they have brought the various registration arms under one roof. And there is obviously a possibility of us doing that in Fiji. Some of you may know in New Zealand, for example, the property and chattels were all brought under one roof. They gave them a period of about 6 to 12 months, where everybody had to register all their charges, etc., with one particular organization. And some of you who may, for example, deal in registration or transfer of second-hand cars, you need to do searches in about 4 or 5 different entities to be able to ensure that you've got a clean title, so to speak. We hope to bring that to an end, to simplify the work. Of course, there needs to be commensurate fees with that. There are some exciting changes in respect of the IT announcement that have been made by the Prime Minister. In fact, in respect of what the General Manager of TLTB said, the Prime Minister has also asked the Mary Vuniwanga, is, for those of you who may not know, has been put in charge of this reform at the ICT. And he has asked to send letters out to all statutory bodies, for example, Housing Authority, etc., to tap into the system. Just by way of information, many of you may not know, there are different arms of government. For example, if one ministry wanted to buy computers, they would go off and buy computers, and the IT department will buy off their own computers, another ministry department will buy their own computers, pay separate licensing fees. So it was not good spend of government funds. Essentially everything is being centralized. And what government will also be doing in terms of their procurement of these software or even hardware will be going directly to the actual suppliers, even though they may not necessarily be based in Fiji. So we'll be able to spend or get a better return on our investment. It requires solutions, I think, in respect of TLTV. GM, I'm happy to tell you that we've already tied up a time for you on Monday with the IT solution providers, and the PSJ will get in touch with you about that. Essentially, the idea is to have the systems be able to speak to each other, and there needs to be a marriage of the two systems, and we'll have that for you on Monday. The idea is to ensure that there's ease of doing business. What we found very interesting also of course, sometimes when countries are judged for ease of doing business in Fiji, one of the international institutions that does carry out ease of doing business in Fiji uses one of the law firms to carry out that measurement for them. So lawyers obviously and accountants have a very prominent position in providing feedback. And we recognize the fact that if we are able to provide better services to you, accountants, lawyers, etc., then the ease of doing business will improve in Fiji. And we hope to sort of have that trajectory next year. Regarding appellant courts, practice and procedure, I think we all need to take heed of the very sound advice and warnings that was given in that session. I think acting on this advice will not only bring integrity into the systems, but also expedite matters for all parties, including the clients, the lawyers, and of course the courts. But it also does provide, from a government perspective, if we're able to expedite these matters, it reduces the cost of running the legal system, and we avoid unnecessary costs. Many times I think we tend to blame the bench or the judicial system, or perhaps even the laws that govern the judicial system as causing delays. But I think we tend to forget, in particular those of you who may be senior partners in your firms or in your statutory bodies, that perhaps the subordinates have become very good experts in asking for adjournments. I'm sure the SG keeps tabs on his officers in that respect. But we have seen many times that whenever we've received complaints, it has always been, or invariably it has been, because one of the parties has been delaying the procedures, or the proceedings I should say. ILSC in regulation of professional conduct or misconduct, very, very topical, very, very dear, I know, to many of your hearts. As I've said earlier on in the afternoon session, that there is a need to collaborate with the CR. The idea is that if we all collaborate, we are lifting up the standards of the legal profession in Fiji, and that's the ultimate goal. There's still a lot of anomalies in practice, and I want to highlight some of them to you. Majority of the lawyers obviously are very good at what they do. Majority of them are very straight lawyers. We just had about 5 days ago, I think the both from our office said in that meeting, we had a villager who retired, who lived in the city, went to the village, he had his FNPF payout. I think he received about $25,000. His sister came from the city, convinced him that he should buy this fantastic block of land in Nosori, which is going to be subdivided, and the price of the block of land was $24,000. He paid $24,000. Did not pay a deposit, he paid $24,000. It went into the operating account of a law firm. The developer since then has died. He went to the lawyer, said, where's my, after a while somebody said to him, hey, where's the title to your land that you bought? He went to the law firm, he said, well, the law firm name had changed. Somebody else had bought the practice and the name changed. The developer is dead. This man has no title and he's lost his entire FNPF payout. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that the lawyer is completely at fault, but obviously if the lawyer had some standards, they would have probably put it into the trust account. They would have perhaps even said to them that I should not be acting for you. Do you have your own lawyer? Very practical example. We've had people on statutory boards who have told us stories, board members. The lawyers that are given work come up to them and say to them, well, look, I know you've given us some work. Why don't I, in the next bill, charge $120,000 and we'll split the difference? It does happen. Only a month ago, one of the board members told us. We had a few years ago clerks from a law firm going up to the office, the registry, and obviously asking and saying which judge will get to hear this particular matter. It's what you call forum shopping. The clerk unfortunately told which judge would be hearing it. Should not have. The clerk has been disciplined since then. And the clerk of the law firm, on Bluetooth, tells the partner back in the office which judge is going to hear it. They said, bring the papers back. And unfortunately, the partners of that law firm, go around within the region and internationally talking about the rule of law in Fiji. Now, these are very practical and real, live examples of what some practitioners are doing. And we need to be cognizant of that. And this is why some of these new laws have been put in place. But I've also had discussions with the CR last night over a nice dinner in respect of some of the issues that is highlighted where law firms are required to give information, where partnerships are required to give information to the CR in terms of change of partnership, addresses, etc. He will be, over the next few weeks, putting out advertisements where you'll be given a period of time in which you need to comply with that. Following that, of course, if people don't comply, then the consequences of the law will be struck upon you. There are some lawyers, I must tell you, who are operating the offices outside from food courts at the moment, in dolphins. There have been some lawyers we know that have been operating the offices from the boots of their cars. That must stop. We are modernizing, we are computerizing, we want to have better standards. There is a lot of economic development going on. There will be a lot more projects coming on stream. There's work for accountants, there's work for lawyers. And to be able to tap into that new growth, economic growth that we are all projecting, and indeed not just us, but third parties are projecting, we need to have very good professional standards. And it's from a practical perspective. It's good for you, it's good for the country. I've also, last night after just the last session, I was thinking about perhaps some of the lawyers, and because, perhaps some of the mentoring systems have not been working, that we would very gladly, from the AG's chambers, give you some template letters for scoping and cost letter. And we'll email that to you. If you have not given your email addresses, please do so. I've also had a chat with Bruce Cowley from Inter Allison, and he's agreed to FOC and give us some of the examples of scoping cost letters that his firm uses. So we can pass it on to you. Please use that, of course, without any liability. You can tweak it. But you're most welcome to use that, and you can share that, and hopefully that will also increase standards within the legal profession. In respect of inter-country adoption and adoption law reform, of course Fiji has recently ratified the Hague Convention. It requires consequential changes to the law in the domestic arena. We should have the new decree in place by the end of the first quarter of next year. And I think it's an enormous shift, and it provides a lot of clarity with the new decree once it comes into force. Constitution and constitutionalism, very, very topical, but we'll have a new constitution in place. We should have a new constitution in place by April of next year at the latest. We hope to have the draft in place very soon. I think the two speakers that spoke and that session from USP provided wonderful food for thought for all of us. The idea is to, whether it be constructing history, whether you're asking the critical questions, or whether we in fact questioning things that we've always been told that is correct. Just in respect of that, what I found very interesting, hopefully in a lighter note, I read some new media release from overseas just a couple of days ago, where I think the Telegraph in UK said that the Queen's head is being removed from all Fijian currency. And it said, it is alleged that the Queen's head will be replaced by the head of the dictator of Fiji, Frank Bainimarama. I can assure you that's not happening. One of the other news releases also had comments from various politicians in Fiji who were saying what a terrible tragedy it was that they're removing the Queen's head from all our currency. And what I found really ironical and very interesting was that the man who actually declared us a republic, unilaterally, and said the Queen is no longer head of the state, was in fact bemoaning the fact that the Queen's head is being removed from the currency, which I found very, very interesting. We perhaps should have also brought Nalin Patel into the session, because he would have shown us the billable hours that could be extracted from a new constitution. But I think it's wonderful opportunities, and I say that because obviously many quarters have suggested that the Bill of Rights should be expanded to include socio-economic rights, which the Fijian constitution or no Fijian constitution has ever had, as the South Africans do in access to basic housing, medical care, etc. And that has, as you would see from case law from South Africa, developed a wonderful jurisprudence, but wonderful ability for lawyers to be able to delve and focus in those specific areas of truly enhancing the rights of individuals in their respective jurisdictions.